So then as Mark and Lori are talking about this in the hallway, there's like a bunch of students around. They're all kind of staring at them, thinking like, oh, are they crazy? And then Will is also there, the other man that escaped the institution. And the whole reason is he wanted to check on Lori, his ex. So like he's there at the high school and he wants to talk to her. But before he can, I think the principal starts like coming their way, and like they're afraid they're gonna be seen, so they have to like leave the high school. So they head out. They're like, we're gonna head out, you know? And they run to the library because this was 2003 and you couldn't just, I mean, I guess Google was there, but like, you know, you couldn't just Google everything back then. You had to actually like go to the library, you know? So, yeah, so, like, I mean, Google was here in 1996, but you didn't have smartphones, you didn't have all this, they probably didn't have computers, maybe at home, but they didn't want to go home and get caught, so anyway, they had to go to the library. So they went to the library to research Freddy, because they're like, what is going on? Like, we gotta figure this out. And it's revealed that this other guy, Mark, that his brother died, and he thinks Freddy had something to do with it, because it was like a mysterious death, and he didn't really believe like what people were saying about it. So then, like Will, so Mark and Will are very afraid of Freddy. Obviously, they don't want to go anywhere near it. They want to just leave town and just like, I guess, escape to another high school. I don't know. So they want to leave town, but then Will still wants to check on Lori because he didn't really get to talk to her because, you know, he's afraid the principal was coming. So they want to get out, but they got to check on Lori first. Then it flashes to a teenage party in the middle of a cornfield for some reason, just to make it spookier, I guess. I don't know. They're like in the middle. I guess this is like a small town. I'm not really sure, but it's the middle of a cornfield. They're having this party. And music is blasting. People are dancing. Usual party stuff. And then at this party, Kia, so Kelly Rowland, she is going back and forth with some guy at the party, like just kind of like arguing back and forth a little bit, like debating back and forth. And then Will shows up at the party and he says that he sent like letters to Lori, but she never got them for some reason. And then the other teenage girl, Gib, she goes into the corn maze and she starts seeing stuff. So she starts seeing that her boyfriend that got killed at the house, that he's there, and she's scared of this because it's like, why is he here? He's dead, you know? And then she sees Freddy's hand, and then she like runs, and she runs into this like, you know those like, I don't know what you call them. They're like towers like for farming, but like, yeah, so she runs into there, and she basically is running from Freddy because she can see that it's him, and she like, they're just like running around, and you know, she's jumping away from him, and she does really big drop, like she does a really big jump, and she falls down pretty hard, and I'm actually surprised that like she survived that jump that she did. And then she hides in a locker, because I guess there's lockers in this tower that she found in the middle of the corn maze. And Freddy is like ready to find her and ready to like kill her basically because he thinks he's strong enough. And then all of a sudden Jason comes in and kills Gib. So Freddy is pissed about this because he basically, it seems like he was just like using Jason until he could get stronger, and now he's pissed because he's like, oh, now you're taking away like what I can do now, like now you're taking away the kills I can do now. So like it's just kind of like the sick mind of both of them to be like fighting over killing people. But like, I don't know, this movie, like I feel like it doesn't take itself too seriously, so like it is what it is. But like, yeah, it's a typical like slasher. So anyway, they're fighting over who's killing who, and now it's turning from them to on a team trying to, take over Elm Street to them versing each other, which is the name of the movie. So basically, after this scene, two of the teens at the party, which is, I guess, revealed to be a rave in the middle of the corn maze. I don't know. Anyway, they're drunk, these two teens, and they're trash talking Jason because they think he's a scarecrow. And so I don't know. I guess they think he's a scarecrow. Like, why would you be wearing that outfit otherwise? You know what I mean? It's not a Halloween party. So, I don't know. But anyway, they're like trash talking him, and they don't know what they're doing. They're obviously drunk, and they're teenagers, so. And then after that, one of the teens, which this is like unhinged, like, I don't know, this seems like unhinged behavior. Like, I'm not really sure why you would do this regardless, but basically, one of the teens lights Jason on fire, I guess because he thinks he's a scarecrow, and then Jason menacingly follows him with a machete that he throws at him while he's on fire. So he's on fire, he's chasing him, and he's throwing machetes at him. So he really shouldn't have poked the bear on that one, but it is what it is, I guess. And so Jason continues to go on a rampage, basically, and starts, killing people. And so obviously all the teens are trying to escape this party, and they're running away, they're driving away, whatever they can do. And then, everybody's going home. Like, our main people are going home. Obviously, Gib has been slain, so she's no longer. Lori and Will are driving home in the car from that party, and they're driving to her house. Will, reveals that he was sent to this mental hospital because, not specifically because of the nightmares he was having from Freddy, which he was having, but not specifically because of that. Apparently it was because he was, when they were dating, I guess, he was sneaking up into her bedroom on the second floor, and she wasn't home for some reason. I guess he was just, gonna go see her, but, she wasn't home, so he was just gonna leave. But then she saw her dad, Lori's dad, trying to kill her mom in their bedroom, I guess. Her mom was laying down, and then he was, trying to, I guess, murder her. So, the dad sees him there, and then the dad basically pushed to get him sent to a mental hospital. So her mom is passed away since then because she was killed presumably by the dad, is what he witnessed. Lori was always told that her mom died in a car accident, so, and this has been, something that she always thought, so it was a big shocker to find out that possibly her dad murdered her mom, instead of the car accident situation. So, basically, Lori's dad is trying to, the reason that he sent Will to this hospital is so he can make him look crazy, so that he can't say, oh, you murdered this person. And people actually, he doesn't want them to believe him, believe Will. So that was the whole reason for that. And then we find out that, which I mentioned briefly earlier, that Lori's dad has been drugging her because he doesn't want her to, I guess, find out, the truth somehow, if she's sober. I don't really know. But, like I said earlier, he was giving off bad vibes anyway, so I kind of figured something was up. You never really can trust most people in these movies, so you never know what to expect. She's inside with her dad, and then Lori escapes, and Will finds her on the street and drives her away from the house, so she doesn't because now, her dad knows that she knows what's going on, so it's a little scary for her right now. So then it flashes to Mark trying to stay awake. It's just a typical, horror movie scene, I feel. So basically, he is in the bathroom. He closes the mirror cabinet, and when he closes it, he sees Freddy in the reflection. So it's a little scary, a little jump scare there. And then he starts to see his brother that had passed in the bathtub. And he realizes at that moment that my brother's not alive. Like, he realizes I'm in a nightmare and I need to wake up. So, like, he's acknowledging this. So, it's kind of like lucid dreaming when you can start, like, controlling it. They should do, like, a whole other movie of, like, somebody that's really good at, like, lucid dreaming and, like, controlling their dreams, and then versus Freddy, and see what happens. But anyway, that's just a side thought on that. That's kind of fun. But anyway, so Freddy is in his face, this Mark guy's face, asking him to send a message. And he's like, no, I'm not going to send. Like, basically he wants to, like, send a message to, like, sound threatening. Be like, oh, watch out. Like, Freddy's back. And he's like, Mark's like, I'm not doing that. You killed my brother. I'm not doing this, So then Freddy decides he's going to carve Freddy's back on Mark's back. So he's carving that into Mark's back. So basically, now Mark is dead, and then it flashes to the cops, and they have the cops, and then they have like a lieutenant, and the lieutenant seems to think this is the work of Freddy with this murder, but the other cops seem to think it's the work of Jason. So, like, depending, like, where they're from and stuff, like, some of them know about Jason because they had been near Camp Crystal Lake or heard about it, so, like, they're both, like, going back and forth, like, oh, could it have been Jason, could it have been Freddy, like, they don't know. But they know it's something crazy, it's somebody crazy. And you would think the whole Freddy's back, like, would be Freddy, but I guess it could be Jason, like, trying to get Freddy in trouble. I don't know. But anyway, they're debating back and forth on who it is, but they know it's some sort of undead, like, mythological, like, horror character of some sort. And then it flashes to the teens again, and they're talking about all the Freddy nightmares that they've been having. The cop that thinks that the murderer is Jason, he shows up while the teens are talking, and the teens decide on their own that they need to take down Freddy, because they've linked together that he's the mastermind, that he's kind of controlling all this, and that he's, I guess, like, controlling Jason in a way, like, manipulating everything to however he wants it. So there's, they just think that he needs to go down first, basically. And this cop is, like, agreeing with them on that. So then after that, Lori wakes up from another nightmare, because I guess she unfortunately fell asleep, so she wakes up from another nightmare, and they find a bunch of people that are in a coma at the police station. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of trippy. I'm not 100% sure what's going on with that. Then there's this guy that's on watch at the police station and, like, doing surveillance, and he starts to see a giant caterpillar, and it looks like it's out of Alice in Wonderland. The people that are in these comas at the police station where this guy is, they start, like, whispering to him, and pretty creepy, and the caterpillar that looks like it's from Alice in Wonderland, the caterpillar attacks him. After that, the music starts to pick up, and then Jason arrives, and we find out that the teens are basically trying to find, like, pills to keep them awake because they don't want to sleep, but, like, eventually you're gonna have to sleep. Like, that's part of being a human is sleeping. So I guess Freddy and Jason wouldn't know about that. I mean, maybe in their former lives, but yeah, I guess they don't need to sleep, but these teens, they need to sleep. So they're trying to find solutions for that. And then there's this long-haired guy, and he's trying to fight Jason with tranquilizers. So he has like all these tranquilizers, and he's just trying to fight Jason straight up with the tranquilizers. It was kind of funny. And basically, Jason slices him in half. He's like, nope, not doing this. You're done, you know? And then after the long-haired guy gets sliced in half, you can hear Jason's mom yelling at him. So she's coming up again, but again, it's really Freddy. So he is, you know, antagonizing him and trying to, like, manipulate him, basically. So Freddy's trying to manipulate Jason, which is what, you know, the teens have put together anyway, that Freddy was, like, the mastermind. Then Jason just slices off Freddy's arms, just casually, you know. And then Freddy grows back his arms right in front of him, so that's great. So basically, after that, now they're really fighting each other. You know, it's really happening. And the fight ensues back at the tower between Jason and Freddy. And Freddy finds out that Jason's afraid of water, which would make sense because he drowned in the lake back in the day. So that makes sense. But I guess he didn't know this. So now he knows that Jason's afraid of water. And then it flashes to the teens, and they're like watching the fight. Like, they're like commentating on it like it's a sporting event, like a wrestling match or something. Like, they're just like commentating on it, so it's kind of funny. So like, this movie, like, I feel like it pokes fun at itself. Like, it's not trying to fully treat itself seriously, so that's kind of funny. But yeah, they're just like commentating on it like it's a sporting event, these two fighting each other. But yeah, they're like saying things like, oh, like like Freddy has home field advantage or whatever because it's Elm Street or near Elm Street or whatever. Like, he knows the area. And then after that, there's a flashback of Jason being traumatized in the rain. So I guess that sucks. Then there's like flashbacks of the people that Jason has killed in the past. And then after this scene, Laurie falls asleep on purpose because she is going to lure, basically she's going to lure Freddy to Jason. So like, she wants them to fight because she wants Jason to kill Freddy because they want to get rid of Freddy because they think he's more of a threat than Jason, I guess, at this point in time. So she purposely is going into her nightmare so she can lure Freddy in there and then basically set him up to get hurt and get killed. So she ends up dreaming about Crystal Lake, interestingly enough. And she's like dreaming and they're both there. So like, they both are there, and then you see Freddy trying to drown Jason. So something that has already happened to him, and he's trying to do that to him again. And then I guess they're on Jason's side because after they get him out of the water, like, they're telling Kia, so Kelly Rowland, they're telling her that she needs to give him mouth-to-mouth. Like, I guess she's the appointed person to give Jason mouth-to-mouth, even though, like, I still think he's some sort of, like, undead mythological, like, being, so, like, are you really gonna give him mouth-to-mouth? But whatever. Anyway, for the context of this movie, they're deciding that Kia is the appointed person to give Jason mouth-to-mouth, so that kind of sucks. And things go awry because they're basically, like, so they start driving away with Jason in a van. So it's like the teens, like, Will's driving, and then Jason's laying, like, in the van with them. So then things start to go awry, like, right when she's trying to give him mouth-to-mouth, And he wakes up, and then Will crashes the van. So it's implied that like Jason had to do with that. And then the teens start heading to Camp Crystal Lake on foot, like in real time, not in a dream. Then I'm not really sure why Lori's dad was acting so suspicious and sending Will to the institution, because it's actually revealed that Freddy was the one that killed Lori's mom. So, like, why was he acting so shady about it then? So anyway, for whatever reason, her dad was acting shady about that. I guess because he felt he couldn't really prove that it wasn't him because it looked like him, but he knew it wasn't him, like, in his heart, but, like, it was Freddy. So I don't really know, but apparently, yeah, Freddy killed Lori's mom. So that solves that mystery, I guess. And Lori, like, she intentionally went to sleep so she could lure Freddy, which hasn't really been panning out, and now she won't wake up. And she's supposed to be waking up at this time, because it was only a certain amount of time she was supposed to be sleeping. So now she's not waking up, which is not good. So after that, basically Freddy's trying to kill Lori, because he knows that she's still asleep, and he's trying to get to her so he can kill her. And then Jason is there and Freddy is there, like in person. And then this teen boy gets caught up in it, and he ends up getting killed as well. So then Freddy, because the teen boy was with Kia, so now Freddy is trying to kill Kia. And so she, like, it's kind of like this is what I mean about this movie poking fun at itself, because Kia starts, like, joking around with Freddy and being like, oh, you think you're so tough, basically, and just making fun of him, and acts like she isn't scared of him, and like, oh, you think you're so great, like, so it's kind of funny. And then Freddy is, like, I guess intrigued by this, but also annoyed, so, like, he's not too happy with it. And then Jason decided he doesn't talk, so he just decided he wants no chit-chat with that. And he just goes and kills Kia so he can get to Freddy so they can start fighting. So, unfortunately, rest in peace, Kia. And then Freddy starts stabbing Jason, and Jason and Freddy are fighting back and forth. It's very dramatic and silly. Basically, Freddy releases these long metal poles, and they launch down and stab Jason in the chest. So they're pretty big. They're pretty big. And they just come down and stab him in the chest. And then they're at this construction site. All of a sudden, they've gotten to this construction site, and that's where they're fighting. And basically, they're climbing up this construction tower, and Freddy, like, slips and falls off the construction tower. And then he bounces back. He's fine, I guess. And then the two of them continue to fight. And then there's a mining cart at this construction site, and it hits both of them. And then it hits them onto a dock. So it basically hits them onto a dock near the lake where they continue to fight. So now it's changing to multiple different scenes, and they're still fighting. So the fighting continues with Freddy and Jason, and Jason's hand gets sliced by his own weapon. And then Freddy takes the weapon that Jason has and begins using it on Jason. And Freddy stabs his claws, the claw that he has, into Jason's eyes. And then Lori gets there, and she's like, no, I'm not dealing with this. You killed my mom, not dealing with this right now. And she lights the entire dock on fire that they're fighting on at this point. And then she lights up a propane tank and runs away. So she really wants to just be done with it, be done with them, and be able to sleep again, which I don't blame her on that one. And basically both Jason and Freddy are bleeding out at this point, and Will is smiling for some reason while running away from this explosion. Very weird considering all of the havoc that has happened in this movie. He was spending time in a mental institution. There are multiple people that have been killed. His friend is gone. His friend died. Like, and now you're smiling? Like, I don't know. It's just weird. Like, he was just, like, smiling as he was leaving the explosion. I didn't really understand that. But I had to note it. I had to note it. But yeah, so he's running away and he's smiling. And I'm not really, like, it's not really a smiling kind of moment. Like, the explosion could get you. These two people are terrorizing the town. These two crazy people. Not even people, really. Just, like, undead beings totally destroying your town. People have been murdered. Your friend's been murdered. And you're going to sit there and smile. I don't know. Maybe you need to go back to the mental institution. Maybe. Think about it, Will. Maybe. Anyway. So basically, Jason and Freddy are lit on fire. And then Will and Laurie, like, jump into the water to avoid the explosion. Because they're not far enough away to, like, totally avoid it. But they can at least go underwater to try to save themselves. And Freddy finds them on the dock. Because they get out of the water after the explosion. They're on the dock. Freddy finds them. But then Jason comes up and kills Freddy. And then they both fall into the water. And basically, Jason kills Freddy with his own hand. So he, like, stabs his own claw hand into him to kill him. And then Laurie slices Freddy's head off before he falls into the water. And basically, Will and Laurie just walk home. Just a casual night out, you know, nothing crazy happened or anything. And then at the end of the movie, because of course they always do this, there's footage of the lake again, Camp Crystal Lake, and Jason's getting out of it, so he's walking out the lake, so he's doing great, somehow, don't know, he's survived. And then we see Freddy's head in his hand, because it got cut off by Laurie, so he's holding that, and then at the very end, Freddy winks at the camera, and that's the end of the movie. So you know they always have to leave it on like, oh, they're back. You know, they're never gonna die because they're not actually like human at this point. So you know they had to leave you on that note. So that is how the movie Freddy vs. Jason from 2003 ends. And now we'll get into the conclusion for this movie. Okay. So I guess my conclusion for this movie would be that, like, I've watched a lot of scary movies, I've watched slashers, I've watched, you know, stuff from the 80s, I've watched stuff from now, so it's like, it's all a little different, but I do watch scary movies on a regular basis, so I guess it kind of depends, like, if you're not into scary movies, probably not for you, but you'd probably also not be watching this then, so, you know. But anyway, for me that likes scary movies, I like slashers, I like, you know, the Conjuring series, I like Insidious, I like, you know, I've seen a good number of these movies, and I thought it was like, it was kind of an expected plot, you know what I mean? Like, I felt like it wasn't necessarily surprising, some of the stuff that happened, and we knew they were going to fight each other because it was called Freddy vs. Jason, so it's not like it was a surprise that they decided. The surprise for me was in the beginning when they were teaming up. I was actually surprised about that. So I guess it's the anticipation of, oh, they're going to be fighting eventually, let's see what happens. I'm actually surprised they didn't fight more. Like, I thought there was going to be more fighting with them. So that was interesting. But yeah, just typical like slasher stuff, you know, and it was interesting that they brought both of these together, you know, both of the stories together in a way. So I thought that was kind of a cool crossover in a way, and I don't think this movie like takes itself very seriously at all. Like, it's just like, you know, a slasher, and it's just kind of making fun of itself. And like, especially the lines from Freddy, sometimes I'm just like, okay, like, you know what I mean? Like, I can't even take him seriously sometimes. And obviously Jason doesn't even talk, so like, there's that. But yeah, it was just, parts of it were a little jump scary, but for the most part, like, it's just more like, I feel like it was less scary and more just like nostalgic in a way, and just, you know, because these two were both from like the 80s. These movies were originally from the 80s, so I think it was bringing back a lot of that, and in the early 2000s, you know, so it was like probably for people that loved the original ones, you know, so it was fun, and like, I would watch it, but it wasn't necessarily scary. Like, I wouldn't consider it like scary. It was a little gory at points, but I wouldn't say it was scary. But overall, like, I had fun with it. It was enjoyable to watch. If you're looking for a good like Halloween movie for the season, like, I think it's a good one to watch, you know, and you know, like, I would definitely watch this again, or parts of, you know, the other series again, because I've only really seen the first one for Friday the 13th and the first one for Nightmare on Elm Street. So, but I want to know, like, what you guys think. You know, if you guys have seen this, like, what you think about it. Do you enjoy scary movies? Are you not a big scary movie fan? Like, everybody's a little bit different with that. I'm sorry that Toad decided he couldn't handle it. I tried to tell him it wasn't that scary, but he didn't believe me, so, you know, he couldn't handle this review, but it's okay. He'll be in the next one, I'm sure. But yeah, let me know what you guys think, and like, subscribe, comment, let me know other stuff you want to see from me. I definitely want to do more movies and different TV shows, and yeah, if you have any suggestions, let me know, and let me know what you think of this movie, and I'll definitely see you guys next time. So I hope you have a happy Halloween, and see you in the next one.